Hello and welcome to Experience Share. It's a Pokemon podcast starring me, Tanstradon.
Gastrodon.
A.k.a. Tanner Greenring, and I am joined, as always, by my co-host, Fielstoys.
Blastoise. I like that one. I like the sound of that.
Those were the two heavy hitters.
Kind of the big boys.
The two boss battles.
They save the day.
They do save the day, yeah. In the new game that we're playing, Joshua, we're on to a new interstitial season.
We're giving it another shot.
Playing through Pokémon Ranger 2, Shadows of
Almia.
Yeah.
We did this one because we know there's Pokémon Ranger, but we're well beyond that. I think that's Gen 3, and this one is technically Gen 4. But the third one has not great reviews from what we read, and we didn't want to set ourselves up for failure, so this one seems like it's the best one.
Yeah, and honestly, Josh, it's made for babies.
Yeah, definitely.
For sure.
But we could be babies.
We're kind of babies. It's a kind of a cool premise. We'll get into the mechanics. We'll get into the premise later. But essentially, the whole world of Pokemon Ranger is, what if everyone in the Pokemon universe wasn't a Pokemon trainer? What if there was other things?
Yeah.
Aside from Pokemon trainers?
What if there were teachers and there were bakers and ranchers and operators and rangers?
And what if those professions, what if those Pokemon adjacent professions use tools other than Pokeballs?
Right.
Imagine that. What if they used the stylus that came with their 3DS?
Yeah.
To draw circles around a Pokemon to make friends with it.
Kind of lasso it into friendship. You overwhelm it with friendship.
Hopefully, unlike me, you haven't lost the stylus from your 3DS. Because I'll tell you this, it doesn't work as well with your finger.
What do you have to use your finger?
I just use a mechanical pencil.
Oh, okay. I was going to say, you know what you should do? You know how my thing is having a pocket pen whenever I have a pocket in my shirt? You should go to, and anyone's open to do this, bugcatchers, you go to marvyukidna.com. It's like a French...
Marvy the Echidna? It's like a Sonic character?
It's it's a French-Japanese company, and they make the pocket pen that I always have. They're like it's a merge.
No, those are two different countries, right?
It's the best of both worlds. It's like a 3-inch long pen, and they're like $3 each, and it's got a stylus on the end of it now also.
Oh, so wait, what's it called again? Marvy the Echidna?
It's Marvy, and then...
Ukida. I see
Ukida. That's it. Oops.
Ukida.com.
It's just like their little pen, and they got a bunch of colors, and I always have like 5 of them as backups.
This is something you need to know about Josh Bugcatchers. He is a sophisticate, and whenever he wears button-down shirts with a little pocket, which he does often, he carries a little pen in there.
You never know when you might need a pen. Sign a receipt, make a note on a napkin, use it as a stylus on your DS or phone.
Yeah.
It's great.
Sign someone's death warrant.
Yeah.
Bugcatchers, this is interstitial season. We're going to dedicate, 3 episodes to this game?
I'm seeing that it's anywhere from 15 to 20 hours, so it's hard to commit. I feel like it's 16 missions, so I feel like we're probably looking at 4 episodes.
Okay, so we're probably going to do 4 episodes on Ranger, so if that's not your speed, you're welcome to skip ahead. We're going to be doing Black and White 2 next.
That's right.
In a few episodes. But we hope you'll join us, and we hope you'll play along, because this feels like a hit that people slept on.
Yeah, and here's something fun about it compared to all the other games. You can still get an OEM cartridge of Pokemon Ranger Shadows of Almia for like $20 on eBay. So
on eBay?
You don't have to spend 10 times that. So that's a nice respite for us as well.
And it's just a fun game. It's fun. It's not like super engaging.
No, it's a good game. Like, you could follow the story really easily because it's for babies. And
the mechanics are a little simplistic. The hooks are a little simplistic. But
yeah,
it's still pretty fun. There was a game that came out a few years ago called Yokai Watch. Did you play Yokai Watch?
No, but I'm familiar with yokai now because of this show.
I'm certain it's going to be the target of a upcoming anchor spot at some point.
Yeah, let's make a note of that. I'll write it down.
It's a 3DS game where you go around collecting demons a la Pokemon, except it does a lot of bottom touchscreen shenanigans. There's lots of mini games that happen on the bottom touchscreen to help you collect some of these demons, and that's what this is. It's like Pokemon in that you are a ranger which is sort of like a trainer who doesn't collect Pokemon. And you go around.
Yeah, it's like a park ranger, like National Park
exactly.
Ranger or something.
Yeah, you're tasked with like helping in any sort of Pokemon related incident.
Right.
But you're not a trainer. You're not carrying Pokeballs. You don't have a team of Pokemon. Instead, what you do is you encounter wild Pokemon, and when you enter into a battle, the wild Pokemon ends up on your bottom screen on your 2DS or your 3DS. And you use your stylus to wildly circle the Pokemon as quickly as you can, as many times as you can.
And the Pokemon can leap and run around, and it depends what they are.
Shoot lightning or whatever.
And your stylus can take damage. So if you get hit too many times, it will run out of energy, and then you white out. Sort of like feigning in a main Pokemon game.
Except it's not called the stylus; it's called the styler.
Sorry, styler. Yeah.
Yeah,
and it's got a few different functions.
Yeah, it's got a few different mechanics to it.
Obviously, what we're talking about is just called the capture styler, and they also do. I'm sure we'll cover this more, but like the graphical style, I think is really charming, and it looks just kind of like an old like NES like RPG or something, which I haven't really seen in Pokemon before.
It's like genuine. It looks like Chrono Trigger.
Yeah,
it looks like
exactly
a Super Nintendo like 16-bit RPG.
It's very
and all the characters
nice.
are very like JRPG, It looks
They run
great.
around and have the same like kind of sound effects when they run around.
Yep.
They have the styler is on the overworld. It looks like a lightsaber, which is fun. And they do a little after you get a mission clear.
Your little character like throws it up in the air and catches it and like wings out the lightsaber. It's cool.
Yeah,
everything looks cool in this game. It just so well polished to kind of like put you in a place in time. Bugcatchers. It's the 1st of December right now as we're recording this.
Mm-hmm.
Diamond and Pearl remakes have been out for a few weeks now, and everyone is shitting on them, of course.
Yeah, inevitably. But
one of the things that the Diamond and Pearl remakes has been getting so much shit for is the follow animations. Whenever like it's a modern Pokemon game, so you can set a key Pokemon to follow you around.
Yeah, like your team
overworld
leader.
Yeah. And everyone is complaining about how bad the animations are for the follow mechanics. Like Ekans and Arbok just stay coiled
they
snakes,
glide. Yeah,
just like bop around behind you. In this game, the Pokemon exclusively follow you around in the overworld.
And your partner, we'll talk about this, but you have a partner Pokemon eventually, and that one is always following you. And then when you have the other up to 4...
There's like sort of ephemeral nature to your team. Like you collect Pokemon, you can have up to 3 following you around, but you're constantly discarding them because you're constantly using them to like clear puzzles or like use special powers within battles to like give you the advantage.
Yeah, they'll all have a different assists in the battle when you're trying to capture or wrangle a wild Pokemon, and then they each have an overworld ability as well. And it's fun because it makes you use a bunch of different Pokemon you would maybe never use in the games, like a Bibarel, for example. But they grow. They kind of grow on you, though, where I was like, I got some respete for Beedrills in this one.
And this is my original point, is the sprites look so good, and their follow animations are so good.
They're vibrant.
Like you pick up like a Bunnery, and the like 3 Pokemon following you will all kind of follow
Dr. Footstep over here.
They'll follow at like different distances. They'll follow at different gates. Like Bunnery specifically, like will hop along behind you, and sometimes will like fall off the screen. They're so far behind you, and then we'll like kind of hop up to catch up with you. It's so good.
Yeah.
What happened? We used to be so good at this Pokemon.
I know, and this is just a sideshow game, and they spent that kind of time.
It's really good.
Yeah.
I'm so into it, and all the like little animations when you like throw your styler in the air and catch it, and all that kind of stuff. It's good. Should we talk about our characters?
Yeah, let's do it.
Like most Pokemon games, I decided to kind of build a premise for my character. I didn't know what I was getting into with this game. I didn't know if I would have the ability to kind of like theme a team, or if I was just going to get the Pokemon that were given to me, like in Colosseum. I thought at the very least I would be able to name my Pokemon, right?
Right.
So I decided to name my guy Tokyo Hotel, which is the name of like a German nu metal group
apparently.
From the mid to late aughts.
Tanner spent some time giving me a little background on Tokyo Hotel before this recording.
Yeah, there's a very beautiful boy.
He is a beautiful boy.
Named Bill, who is the lead singer of
Who looks like he's ripped out of an anime.
Yeah, he does look like an anime.
Ich muss durch den Monsun, hinter die Welt, ans Ende der Zeit, bis kein Regen mehr fällt, gegen den Sturm, am Abgrund entlang, und wenn ich nicht mehr kann.
I sort of thought, okay, well, if they're going to give me the opportunity to name my Pokemon, I'll name them all after one-hit wonders and like forgotten hit songs from 2008. Because 2008 was a very formative year for me. It's the year I moved to New York originally.
Okay.
And I had it in my head. I was like thinking about 2008. I was like, I feel like there was a lot of one-hit wonders. There was a lot of like, it's when Katy Perry first came into the world with
I Kissed a Girl. Yeah.
And Hot
Lollipop, Lil Wayne. Oh my God.
There was
American
Boy by Estelle.
Oh my God.
Never had another hit
Love
song
in This
ever
Club.
in her life.
Well, that's
Bleeding
not a
Bleeding
one-hit
Love
wonder.
by Leona Lewis, who's only popular in the UK.
Wow.
It's just a
Sex is on Fire, Kings of Leon. Jesus.
It was a beautiful year for bad forgotten music. Yeah. So I was like, okay, great. I'm just gonna name Sorry by Buckcherry. You remember that song?
Oh, how could you forget?
I'm sorry I'm bad, I'm sorry I'm Bill, I'm sorry about all the things I said to you, and I know I can't take it back.
So I was like, okay, I'm just gonna name Taylor Swift. It was like her first big album.
Yeah.
Hell of a year.
Just Dance.
So I was
Lady
like,
Gaga. Jesus.
I was like, I'm gonna name my team after all of these like hits. But it turns out that you can't rename your Pokemon, at least not yet. So far, I just have a guy called Tokyo Hotel for no reason, and a bunch of Pokemon that are just called what they're called in the game.
Jeff. Yeah.
So that's where I'm at with my character. What about you?
I also went into this. I have not played this before. Literally had no idea. I tried to go into it with just, other than, as I said, we did strategically pick this one rather than the other two Pokemon Rangers. But other than that, I didn't look into the mechanics. I was like, yeah, we'll definitely be able to rename Pokemon, but the only Ranger I'm familiar with, and that Tanner is familiar with, is Galas Wild Wings Ire. Galas is my Ranger bird.
Sure.
Aarakocra, I believe.
Aarakocra, yeah.
In our most recent completed D&D campaign. So he's a ranger, and I was like, all right, this guy will be like they're human boys or girls. But I was like, this guy's going to be like a bird keeper type. Like he likes birds.
Catch birds.
Yeah.
We don't really have that.
Yeah, because he doesn't have wings, so he won't be honoring what, is honorific of quote unquote wild wings. He's just Galas Ire.
I forgot that Wild Wings had a full name other than Wild Wings, because that's all we called you in the game.
Yeah.
Yeah, Josh and I, we just recently started a new D&D campaign where we're pirates.
Yeah.
I'm a 75-year-old named Cookie, who's a ship's cook.
Right. And I am
Josh is a
like
cat.
20-something, I would say, kind of youngish, sprightly cat, kind of gentlemanly, like thief. He's like a scoundrel gentleman,
Yeah.
like a snake oil salesman, and he's
You're
a
gonna
rogue.
miss the Northlands though.
Yeah, the Northlands is really what we sunk our teeth into, and that's where Galas was from. And you were
we started an empire.
Sort of
I was a werewolf.
Turncoat. Eventually, you were a werewolf.
An elf.
Yeah.
An elf werewolf.
Shunned your imperial family.
Two tatasales.
To go on and found your own empire along with us, as well as a brewery, because we were the cold ones.
Oh, right. The cold. Yeah. Was that the name of my beer?
You had Tatter's Ale.
Oh, I had Tatter's Ale, right.
Yeah.
Because my name was Two Tattersales.
Right.
What a fun thing D&D is. We should just be doing that instead of playing Pokemon.
We'll have to do a spin-off about that at some point.
So yeah, you start your journey as a humble student.
At the Ranger School.
At the Ranger School, yep. You're immediately introduced to two idiots named... God, now I
don't
can't
you
remember
miss?
either of their names.
Isn't it you meet? I think Keith and then Miss April. Miss April's the teacher.
Miss April's the teacher, but there's a girl who also befriends you, who's got a silly name.
Rhythmy?
Yeah, Rhythmy.
I think that's it. It's sort of like setting it up as this weird, like, will they, won't they? You know, you and Rhythmy. Tokyo Hotel and Rhythmy.
I didn't pick up on the will they, won't they?
The kind of coy nature.
The sexual tension.
Yeah,
no.
I think there's a lot of sexual tension.
There's a little bit of a sexual tension between you and Keith.
Oh, definitely.
Honestly, if there's any sexual tension, it's between your character and Keith.
Well, hey, I'm young. I could go either way.
You start as rivals. Like, he's like, fuck you, I'm better at Pokemon than you.
Yeah.
And then you have a race to catch Bidoofs in the, like, schoolyard. I don't know if you beat him in that Bidoof race. I did not.
No. I had 4 and he had...
destroyed me.
He had 5, I think.
I think I had 2 and he had 8 or something.
It wasn't that savage for me.
But then he decides that you're cool, and he sort of becomes your.
He has a begrudging
companion.
respect.
You guys kind of become like buds, and you journey together.
But yeah, it does have this familiar setup of like, oh, you got a friend and it's Rhythmy, and then you have a rival and it's Keith. But it's a little bit more like.
But also, Rhythmy then sort of drops off the face of the earth.
She
just
comes back on one of the missions later, I think.
Sort of. So the thing is, Rhythmy is training to be an operator, which is different from a ranger. A ranger does the field work. You're out there like busting your hump, like putting out fires, smashing machines that drive Pokemon wild. Whereas operators are in like ranger centers. It's like a Pokemon center essentially.
Yeah, ranger bases.
Ranger bases, yeah.
Or depots. I think they got depots as well. And the operators, they have some other type of styler that can like work as a walkie-talkie essentially, and they can kind of phone you up and like give you instructions and like beam you items, which will come into play when we get into quests. And they will also recharge your styler, which is like, you know, healing your Pokemon.
Yeah.
So they're the support,
so
and
that's
then you're
probably
the
what Melody or whatever
attack.
her name was. Rhythmy.
Yeah, APC.
There also is someone called Melody, which is just confusing.
Yeah, and they always they make fun of her too. Like some character is like, "Oh yeah, we ran into that Misery," you know.
Oh yeah,
they're always
someone gets her name wrong.
Riffing on her. I think they do the little dynamics between the characters pretty well. There's like this there's Miss April, who's your teacher.
I'm just realizing.
And then there's
something.
Mr. Kincaid, who's the sort of like curmudgeonly teacher. And one of the other students, you open up in the classroom, and I think it's just 4 of you, and there's like, or maybe it's 5, but I remember distinctly that it's like, there's Rhythmy, there's Keith, there's you, and then there's male student, and there's female student, and that's how they're identified. And one of them is like, Mr. Kincaid sucks. Like, his pet saying is, no running in the hallway.
He does seem like a enormous dickhead.
Yeah, he's fucking sucks.
Mr. Kincaid.
We all hate him.
He's also like, he's up to some nefarious business.
Yes.
We'll get into the plot in a second, but at some point you kind of end up in the basement of the school, and he's like summoning ghosts.
Yeah, ghastlies.
With some student named Isaac, who I think is Melody's brother. I don't know.
Yeah, that's right.
So this game came out in 2008, as is evident by my name, Tokyo Hotel.
Oh,
I'm realizing now, 2008 was like the sort of tail end of Harry Potter fever, and this. At least this intro of the game has some like strong Harry Potter vibes. It's like a bunch of students living in this school together.
Yeah.
Like you go upstairs to the dorms. There's like the girl side and the boy side. The basement is haunted. Like the teachers have these kind of like over the top personalities.
The styler's like a wand. Oh my god.
Styler's like a wand. Yeah, this is some real Harry Potter shit. Is what I'm figuring out.
Interesting.
And I don't know enough about the Harry Potter movies to know who this is, but there's some like vain blonde teacher in the Harry Potter movies. Do you know who I'm talking about?
Oh, well, I mean, the Malfoys are all...
No. Gilderoy Lockhart.
I don't even remember that.
Look him up.
I did read all of them and watch all the movies, but... Oh, yeah, this guy.
I think this is definitely
he's nice.
Oh, is he nice?
Yeah, he's nice. Defense against the dark arts, not lover of the dark arts.
Wait, is he... I thought he was bad.
You're thinking of like the Malfoys, I think. But
he was institutionalized in the same ward as Neville Longbottom's parents.
Although Lockhart looks exactly the same.
He lost all. Oh, what a tragic character.
Yeah,
he lost all his memories due to a malfunction of Ron Weasley's damaged wand.
Yeah, it's pretty fucked up.
That's so sad.
But he does have the same hair as Mr. Kincaid.
That's what I'm saying. I think Kincaid is definitely based on this Gilderoy Lockhart. Like, he looks just like him.
So maybe Mr. Kincaid is going to turn out to be a tragic figure.
Who knows? Who knows? But anyway, you start at the academy. You're a new student. You meet Rhythmy and Keith, and they become your buds. You do a bunch of, like, fetch questy shit here. Like, you and Keith run around trying to find these missing... styler.
Yeah, it's a few wands. Kind of it's basically the tutorial.
Yeah,
they explain all of these mechanics. We talked about how you capture Pokemon. The other one they teach you is target clear, which is the overworld version, like which we mentioned, where it's like Bibarels, or rather Bidoofs. I mean, both of them, but Bidoofs, because we were just talking about them. Their overworld ability is Crush. And so you'll look at the top screen, and then it's got like a 1, and then we've seen 2 and 3 so far, and then that's just the power level of that move. So like Bibarel, for example, has a 2 Crush, Bidoof has a 1 Crush, and that means that a Bidoof on the overworld, you can click on it and then with the styler, and then drag it toward a crate, and then the Bidoof will like charge at it and break the crate. So it's a few of these little like tutorial missions to show you how the mechanics work.
And when that happens, the Bidoof leaves your team. You're like, thank you, Bidoof.
See you later. Smell you later.
Jets off the screen. Yeah. So you can kind of bring 3 Pokemon friends along with you at any time. But if you use one of them on one of these overworld missions, or if you use their Pokemon power in battle, they'll leave your team. Except for one. So in the midst of all of this sort of tutorial school time stuff, you're pulled away into the real world. You and Keith are asked to kind of go and check in on a former student of the school, a Pokemon Ranger named...
Crawford?
Crawford.
Is this Crawford? Oh, the outdoor class. You meet the real gritty stuff.
And you end up on a beach where a bunch of Pokemon are kind of going wild. There's a couple of those Shellos, and there is a Munchlax, and a Starly, and a Pachirisu.
Yeah.
And you help. You go and you take them on, and you capture them. And
you have to save, like, there's a beach boy and a beach girl. Yeah. And the beach boy, when you get there, is like, my beach girl, she's under attack by these crazed mon. And then you got to go capture him. But you sort of take your pick. The Shellos are claimed, but you have the option to go and like deal with the Munchlax or the Pachirisu or the Starly. Yeah, because this is when you meet up with, you get kind of trolled by the Rangers, where Crawford tells you to go and like, you need to deliver this important package, and then you go out to the beach, and then it's him and like Barlow. Barlow is there, and they're like, oh yeah, deliver this important parcel, and then it's a picnic. And then you find out about the beach attack, and then they each take them on, and then you're left with this choice, like what's to any of us very obviously it's like, oh, there are 3 Pokemon that I can choose between.
Oh, was it very obvious to you, Josh?
Yeah.
Because to me, it was like, okay, well, I'm just going to go to the first one I see.
Tanner, anytime there are 3 Pokemon that you could clearly choose between, that's the starter.
All right.
Or partner Pokemon in this.
Who's your partner Pokemon?
Well,
explain what partner
I'm a bird keeper, so I went for Starly.
Starly. Interesting.
Yeah, I got Starly. Plus, I had a good experience with that Staraptor in Platinum.
Yeah, so at this point, you choose a Pokemon. Josh chose Starly. I chose Pachirisu.
Interesting. The squirrel Pikachu.
For no reason. I was just like, okay, I'll go take on this one.
Yeah.
And then at that point, you're still not graduated from Pokemon Ranger School. So the Pokemon you choose, all of these Pokemon are under some kind of spell. And once the spell is broken, they all run off. Like, you can't friend these Pokemon.
Right. Except
for the Pokemon you choose sort of takes a liking to you. But Barlow is like, you can't have a Pokemon.
You're not a Ranger.
You're not a Ranger. But the second you graduate from Ranger School, you go back to the beach, and your Pachirisu / Starly are just waiting for you, and they become something called your companion Pokemon, which is sort of, it's the exact same thing as a friend Pokemon, except it's persistent, and they never go away.
Yeah, they're your partner, and they stay with you no matter what. The other ones are all ephemeral.
Yeah, so you can use their overworld abilities and you can use their PokéAssist abilities in battle, and they won't fuck off afterwards.
The thing that I'm excited to find out, and part of the reason I was like, oh, I'm glad that I went with this theme, because I don't know if any of the Pokemon that are your partners can evolve, but I got a 3-stage, which is fun.
Oh yeah, Pachirisu
does not evolve.
Does not have any evolutions.
But I don't know, maybe I know you can I think you can ultimately have multiple partners, maybe, or you can replace them.
I hope so, because I
don't know.
Here's the thing: I think Pachirisu is great.
What's its ability?
It's got
or
paralyze.
its assist. Oh, that's great.
His PokéAssist ability is paralyzed, so you just drop it's like Thunderbolt, and you drop a Thunderbolt next to the Pokemon that you're trying to capture, and it paralyzes, it freezes, and you can just sit and circle it to your heart's content. So I'm actually pretty pleased with my choice. Pachirisu has made some of these like boss battles pretty easy. What's Starly's?
Starly has I forget what it actually is, if it's Whirlwind. I forget what the move is called, but anyway, you basically, when you're in a battle and you want to use the assist, and we should also mention assists are like a charge up move, so you have to do a number of like circles on your own before you can use them, and then it powers up. But it's like a tornado where you just circle rapidly, and then it makes like a big twister, and then it shoots off little ones on the side, and each Pokemon they hit, it does damage. So it weakens them. Okay. It's pretty good. It's good for like multi-mon battles, which we have a couple of.
Yeah, those seem
but Paralyze
rare.
Seems better.
Paralyze has been great,
I would actually say. Yeah.
For the boss battles. So yeah, those are the Pokemon you kind of they end up just kind of following you around everywhere. Even when you the rest of your Pokemon friends are completely decimated and your team is completely empty, you'll at least have your Pachirisu or your Starly on your team.
Yeah.
But then the real draw is Pokemon friend Pokemon, which is there are just wild Pokemon running around everywhere. And
there's no like any tall grass mechanic.
Yeah. Just like any JRPG, as soon as your sprite interacts with their sprite, you go into the battle screen.
Yeah. The other thing I think is fun, speaking of like the animations, is that each of the Pokemon has a different reaction. So Pichu's, which are very useful because their assist is recharge. So if you capture one, it can recharge. It's like a heal in the field. If they see you, if they detect you, they start waddling away because they don't want to fight. Whereas other ones will...
what's it called? Sphinx? What's the little...
Shinx.
Shinx will chase you until you're like off screen.
Yeah, the Shinx will come out of nowhere and they must have you. Beedrills are super fast. It's basically, what you would expect. Like Bibarels literally don't even notice you ever. They just keep waddling around. And I really like that. It's like a bunch of dynamic animations. It's great.
There's a couple of frustrating Pokemon like Bonsly and Geodude who the moment they see you will like clam up. They'll like turn into a tree or turn into a rock, and then you can't catch them. You can't interact with them. Yeah. So I still haven't quite figured out what the mechanic is for like tricking them. You just sneak up on them.
You can, this obviously, but like you can use the styler to just click on them on the bottom screen, and then it'll say up top what it is if it looks like an interactable object. And so you can even hit the little like rock that's the Geodude, and then it says Soak 1. So if you get a Shellos, you can go and use Soak on it, and then it pops out as a Geodude, and then you can capture it.
Then you can battle
and Bonsly as well.
Same sort of thing. Yeah. All right. Cool. Well, yeah, and then so there's them, and then there's boss Pokemon too, which are like bigger Pokemon with more hit points. They tend to be isolated in their own little areas. They have like a boss bar at the top of the screen.
Yeah.
Most of the Pokemon's like resistance meters are right over their heads, but the big bosses have like boss bars at the top. Tend to have pretty hard hitting moves that take like 5 or 6 HP off of your styler. And at this point in the game, we only have like 20 HP on our styler, so a 5 or 6 point hit is pretty tough.
Yeah, I guess we kind of made it to the point where like at our 1-day internship where we can talk about our first boss battle.
I would love to hear about your first boss battle in your 1-day internship, Josh.
Would you?
Yeah.
When would you like to hear about it?
After this break.
Yeah. All right. So, am I telling you about the one-day internship?
Tell me about your one-day internship, Josh. I would love to hear about your internship.
Yeah, so this is after graduation, or maybe I think just before graduation you do the internship.
Yes.
And it involves going to that Nabiki beach, and you have to... And they have a very...
Say that again?
Nabiki?
Good.
Well, I was recently on island time, so I'm very...
Oh, that's right. You were...
Nabiki Beach.
You were technically on an island.
Key West. Yeah.
An island within the continental U.S. full of...
It's island time.
Chickens and Floridians.
The original Margaritaville is there, so I think that...
I was very pleased to see on Instagram that your first day there that you found some wild Key West chickens.
Oh, yeah. I don't know. Have you been there?
Just sort of thought it was a legend. I knew about the chickens.
I didn't know about this at all. So bugcatchers, for some reason, there's just a wild chicken population in Key West.
Yeah.
And
it's not just pies.
Yeah. They got key lime pies, they got Hemingway cats, and they got chickens. And we stayed at this hotel that was on the water. So you would think chicken roosters, they're not hanging out by a beach, are they? But apparently they are.
Yeah.
And there was one rooster in particular that anytime we went down to the pool, the rooster would show up and he would just hang out right by where we were. And he was our friend.
Okay.
However, counterpoint is we got woken up every day at 7 a.m. by roosters.
By the rooster.
Cockadoodle doing.
Some vacation.
So, yeah. But it's charming ultimately.
Yeah.
Did not eat any chicken while I was there, I'll tell you that. So, on your internship, you have to go soothe Pokemon on the beach. And they always give a dramatic, also kind of RPG, or maybe even anime style, title that comes up on the screen.
That's cool.
Soothe Pokemon on the beach. They all have an exclamation point at the end. And this is because you want to get to the bottom of why those Pokemon were riled up, attacking the beach girl. And so there's a little... Wait, that's what we did. I'm skipping ahead to the investigating the marine cave.
Yeah, so you go to the beach. We already talked about this. You go to the beach, you meet your partner Pokemon. There's something driving the Pokemon wild, and
you don't know why.
It seems like maybe the thing that is driving the Pokemon wild is in this marine cave.
Right.
And that's mission 2.
Yeah, before you can do that, I skipped ahead. Before you could do that, you have to go to Vien Town, which is your actual little first mission as a ranger, is that you have to deliver the Vien Tribune. So you have to just be a newspaper boy or girl.
Yeah.
And Vien Town is actual establishment, unlike the ranger school. So it's more like Pokemon style, where there's little houses, there's various people around, there's a ranger base is what's here. So this is kind of your base of operations at the moment. This is where Barlow hangs out. Crawford is there occasionally, but I believe he is stationed in a different city ultimately. And you visit a few houses, and I do want to talk about one house.
Okay.
And it's a house where you meet a young girl named Mimi and her two parents.
She's nice. I like her. She's really into...
Mimi has 4 happenings.
She's really into happenings, yeah.
And I'm going to issue a Ranger Danger.
Okay.
For Mimi.
And she's a ranger? That's confirmed?
No.
Okay.
I'm the ranger, but as a ranger, I need to issue... I'm the ranger now. I need to issue warnings for the populace so that they're aware. So this is more of an outward-facing Ranger Danger. I'm announcing, be aware of this person, Mimi.
I wouldn't even say Mimi, because she's just sort of she's a victim of her own circumstance. I think what you want to do is a Ranger Danger against maybe being too into any one Pokemon.
I think
because it kind of just comes off as ishy,
Yeah, I don't ever like that.
Yeah.
It's like that fisherman with the 6 Magikarp. Anytime you're really obsessing over one Pokemon, something's wrong.
The NPCs in this game are all creeps. The NPCs are so weird.
Yeah, they are.
They say the weirdest things. Sometimes it's just utter nonsense.
Yeah, there's a little Tim in this town. Who he lives on the farm with Big Bertha.
We've all read A Christmas Carol.
Yeah, it's you mean Tiny Tim?
Do you mean Tiny Tim? No, it's
I
an
think
adult
it's
man.
Little Tim because he's an adult. So he's little now. He's not tiny.
It's an adult
married,
man with
I think, to Big
7
Bertha.
children.
Yeah.
Who has a wife named Big Bertha, who's
and they have a
the
milk cake
strongest person in whatever this region's called. This region's got some dumb name.
I literally do not remember.
She's the strongest.
Do you know what the region's called?
Yeah, they say it at some point.
Oh, wait, Almia.
The Almia region. No, it's not called the Almia region.
I don't think it is.
Let me look it up real quick.
So, yeah, each town has a few NPCs. They all are they're characters, though. They all have names, which is interesting. There's a Mr. Woodward. Like, they have more flavor. I'll give this.
It's the region of Almia. Yeah.
Yeah, it's Almia. I think Almia is a decent name. But they all have more flavor, I would say, than like a random, often NPC in like a main Pokemon game. But they're very strange.
I mean, like, Big Bertha and Tiny Tim Small Tim.
Don't want to know how that works with those 7 children. How did that happen?
They're just so weird.
So, and there's going to be a quest. There will be a little bit more to do with both of them. But in terms of where we are now, you just have to deliver the newspaper. I think you do it with Keith. So you have to run around to a few towns and you deliver the paper.
Yep.
And you go back to the ranger base in Vien town and you just get some cred. And that's like the end of the day. I think that was really it for that one. That they really ease you in.
That was your internship?
That's the first. The internship was the soothing Pokemon on the beach. We sort of glossed over that because we did that. That's how you get your partner Pokemon.
And then you end up in this cave, and it turns out that there's some
your
device.
Next thing that you find out when you wake up the next day is that Barlow is like, there's all these Pokemon are going even wilder down at that beach, and you got to get to the bottom of this. And so
head to Marine Cave. You enter the Marine Cave. There's a red, phallic red device.
It's like a fire hydrant,
pulsing away.
And all the Mon in there are like not doing the natural movements we talked about. They all kind of just spin around in circles, and they've got a little like
confusion. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, confusion.
Like swirl over their heads. And these Pokemon you can still battle, but they will not like hear your calls to friendship, it says, after you're done battling them, and they'll just flee. So you have to take out this device, which you don't know anything about yet. When you click on the device, it has on the upper screen, it says like, Soak 2. The red ones require Soak 2 to defeat. So your job now is to go find a Pokemon in the overworld who knows the move Soak at the power level 2. And luckily the game, it's a game. It's got, narrative hooks and all that kind of stuff. So shortly thereafter, within the same cave system, you encounter, what's the name of that Pokemon? Gastrodon.
Well, you have to do a little maneuvering where this is where I think the Geodudes come into play.
Or Graveler, which is how I ended up doing it.
Yeah, I got the Graveler too. You can get one. I think ultimately you need a Graveler because there are 2 Crush.
Yeah.
And you need to be able to get the Mon who can break down the rocks in order that you can get into the lair of the Gastrodon.
Gastrodon.
Yeah.
So you do all that. You go and capture the Graveler to break down the rocks in the overworld to get to Gastrodon to smash this red machine, which then releases all of the Pokemon from their spell. And then you can also leave an area and come back. I was like, oh, there's a Squirtle in this cave, and I was like, it'd be cool to have a Squirtle.
Yeah, I did that.
And then
too.
Graveler felt very powerful, so I was like, oh, I'm gonna catch the Graveler and the Squirtle and just keep them on my team. And then it was like, all right, and proceeded to carry this Graveler and Squirtle with me for the rest of the game, and it was like, okay, this is not the way this game works. I get nothing for having this Graveler and Squirtle on my team, and eventually just release them.
But. Yeah, I had that Graveler forever, which was also because at one point I got defeated by trying to get the Nose Pass, which is what they kind of recommend that you use to break down the wall. There's a Nose Pass in there. Nose Pass killed me.
Wow.
And then I went back to try to get him, and I discovered that there's a mock mode on the capture. So I don't know about you, Tanner, but it took me until this quest before I realized that the real trick to the capture is that whenever you have the second, you just circle around it so rapidly.
Oh no, you just wail on it.
Yeah. That's the world really opened up for me at this point.
If you're not playing the game bugcatchers, the Pokemon have like a tell. If they're gonna do one of their powers, they'll like have a little exclamation point over their head, and that's when you know to stop circling. Because if you try to circle them while they're doing their power, it'll interrupt your beam and you'll take damage.
Yeah.
But the thing is, if you stop for too long, all the progress you've made on catching this Pokemon like dissipates very quickly.
Right.
So you have to be very artful with your spins, with your little fast stylus circles around the Pokemon.
That made it a lot more fun.
Just quick enough for them to give off their power and then like start circling them again. So yeah, I was only doing tight, hard little circles around these guys.
This is when I discovered that that's the real way of doing it.
Okay. I'm surprised you made it this far, because that seems like it was crucial to...
Well, that's why I needed to be defeated by Nosepass to get my life in order. So.
Yeah. So yeah, you defeat this machine. It's discovered. Like you then like have to go fetch some scientists to study it, and then there's
Big Bertha is the one who comes and picks it up.
She like
too.
carries it back to the.
She's the only person
ranch.
Who's strongest in town to bring it to the base.
And while Big Bertha is occupied with carrying this big heavy machine back to the Ranger base, you get a call from what's his name, Little Tim.
Yeah.
You get a call from Little Tim, and he's like, "Oh, my strong, beefy, capable wife is gone."
He's a wife guy.
Tiny Tim's thing is he's afraid of Pokemon.
Yeah, and
so
he has a Miltank farm.
Can you come to my ranch and help me? My Miltank is acting up, and I'm afraid to go near it. So you do. You go, and this is the introduction to quests, which is side quests. The main quest in this is called missions, and the side quests are called quests. And you can go up to NPCs with like markers with like 3 little dots above their head, ellipses, and ask them if they have any quests for you. And oftentimes they do, and they're usually just like, little fetch quests or whatever.
Yeah, they're pretty simplistic. This one is where you have to just go and settle down the Miltank, which aka capture it, right. And then it settles down. But what's great, I love this quest mechanic. They're so. Yeah, I think I overall like it. My complaint, of course, is that you can only have one at a time.
Yeah, that sucks, because it's like, why would I do that? Like, you're sending me into Vien Forest, for instance, to do like 3 quests, but I can only do them one at a time.
So you have to keep going and like do the thing, chop down the logs, and like find the happening, and then you have to go back, settle it, and then go engage the next person. But I do like that. It does this. You just gather items that just help you.
Well, that's going to be my complaint about quests, is that the rewards are way too OP.
Oh, like, okay, yeah. They are.
They give you little like unlocks for your styler that give you resistances. So like you go and like do a quest, and then it unlocks like the water whatever add-on, which increases your resistance to water attacks.
Yeah, I think it's just like bug defense and like water.
And you get one of these every single time you finish a quest. So like I'm already resistant to like half the types in the game. And that means like when you're going and battling something like a Happiny, for instance, when it attacks you with a normal type attack, it does 0 damage to you. And it's like, okay,
unless it can do more than 3 damage.
Now this is the easiest thing in the world, because these are all like intro level Pokemon. So I feel like those quest rewards are a little too, they need to be like tweaked a little bit. They need to be nerfed.
That's fair. You want to do a quick quest check?
Yeah.
How many quests did you do?
6.
5.
You missed the one.
I missed that. I guess I saw, because I realized on like the other menu that you can see the ones that are available. I guess I missed one in Chicole Path. Like some girl has been hearing sounds under a bridge or something.
Oh, yeah.
I didn't know about that one.
You go back to the school.
I think that's the one I missed. I mean, that has to be it, because I have done all the other ones.
Spoiler alert, it was a Pokemon.
Yeah, and
it's not a ghost.
You have to wrangle it.
Yeah, you do have to wrangle it, and then it runs.
So after you get the intro to quests, you go back to base, you take a rest, you wake up the next morning, and the Vien Forest is ablaze.
Yeah, something has lit the Vien Forest on fire. It's these dang devices that are showing up everywhere now. So luckily they're all like exploded here. We don't have to worry about like mad Pokemon, but we do have to worry about the raging wildfire and all the
That's just outside of town.
fiery logs that are blocking the paths. So it's a lot of it's a lot of war turtle wrangling. You have to kind of keep finding war turtles to put out these fires.
This was fun. I love this. Well, I'll say two things actually because it's related. The war turtles will some of them are roaming around on the riverbank, but then other ones will spring out of the river.
Yeah.
And they love attacking.
War turtles will just come after you.
As
they
you
will hunt
mentioned.
you to the end of the earth. It's like Frankenstein.
Shinx is Joshy's sweetie.
Is it?
Oh yeah. I love it's a little lion cub and it just jumps out of the jungly forest.
They're feisty.
It leaps at you and they've got just I kept one of those for most of it just because I thought they were funny.
Yeah.
They're not they just have Electrify or something. They're not particularly useful. They're
I haven't quite. There's a lot of Pokemon that have a move called Electrify, which
it just shoots out little sparks.
Is marginally useful in Pokemon battles and has thus far proved completely ineffective in the overworld. There's no
it's useful in
mechanic.
The next part with Elekid has it as well, but it has the leveled up version,
right? And there is
Shinx just has a level 1
of these devices that these devices that we've encountered so far are conquered by Soak 2.
Right. At the moment, the only one we've seen is a red fire hydrant.
Right.
So dildo.
We're still in Vien Forest. It's on fire. We're putting out the logs. We eventually make our way to what's his face, Carter.
Oh, Crawford. Yeah,
Crawford. Who's
he's in the upper part of the forest.
Right. He's what we really need is a Blastoise to do rain dance to put out all these fires, and of course that's your job. So this is our first I guess second boss battle after Gastrodon. But you capture the Blastoise. It does rain dance. It puts out all the fires.
I love that animation too.
God, it looks good.
Saunters out into the forest clearing and just fucking downpour.
Right. Even the overworld target clear animations are so good. Watching the rock turn into a little pile of gravel, or watching the big log get sliced up into little logs.
Oh yeah, just, we didn't talk about that one at one point.
So good in this game.
Rosalias have cut and they do razor leaf, and then eventually the log slices in half.
Takes way too long. They go for the full animation. They're you're gonna sit and watch Rosalia shoot 15.
You got 10 seconds.
This log. And then it's going to slice in half. They look good. These are really good looking games.
They spent their time on it.
So once the fire's out in the
Vien Forest,
that's another mission clear. That's mission 3. But now everyone's okay, what are these machines? We gotta figure out what these dang
who's this doctor? They bring in a doctor who you have to go greet because they think that he's very old, and by the you just kind of try to leave the town and he's immediately there.
He's there. He's there was a barricade in Vien Forest, but all I had to do was punch it and it fell over. So here I am. And you're okay. You're headed to a city next. We didn't capture it in the notes. Puel Town. It turns out that Puel Town is just overrun with wild Pokemon, mad Pokemon, because there are a number of these devices in the city. When you get up there, you discover that the devices have a name because there is some nefarious group up here setting up these devices.
Yeah.
They're called Gigarimos.
Gigarimo. I love that.
There's a few different kinds of Gigarimos. There's the red ones we've encountered so far, which can be defeated by Splash 2.
Soak.
Soak 2, yes. Which we've encountered a number of different Pokemon that have that, notably War Turtle, which we've found in Vien Forest. And you make me barf Pokemon in the game.
Yeah.
Bibarel. The Bidoof evolution.
Yeah.
The sprites in this game look great. Bibarel looks like a fucking couch.
Yeah, I like it more than the main game sprite, but I get what you're saying.
He looks like a loaf.
He's
like
just a big loaf.
Yeah, he's just a loaf.
Yeah.
And for some reason, it knows Soak too. It's
it's powerful.
I don't know what Bidoof or Bibarel's types are in the main games, but Soak 2 feels wrong.
It's just water. I went into, by the time we...
Wait, Bidoof and Bibarel are water?
No, Bidoof is normal, but Bibarel is normal water.
What? Why? That doesn't make any sense to me.
Because it's a beaver, man. It turns into a beaver.
Oh, I get it is a beaver, huh? Yeah.
Yeah. But it at one point, because by the time, so you can stack your little crew, you know? You got the partner Pokemon that you always have, and then you got 3 friend Pokemon slots.
Yep.
So I was going into Pule Town being like, all right, I bet there's a Gigarimo situation here. I'm going to bring as many Bibarels as I can.
Right.
And I'm going to take care of them, wim bam boom. So I went in, I collected 3 Bibarels.
Right.
So I had 3 Bibarels and my Starly.
I did the same thing with Growlithes.
Yeah,
Once
I went
understood
in and
the next stage.
Yeah, apparently. So I went in and like I think 1 Bibarel was useful, and then the rest of it was a waste because then.
So the first screen you encounter in Pule Town is red Gigarimo units, which are defeated by Soak 2. So all you need is
they're roughly elemental types. So it's like red is fire, thus Soak puts it out, and then we're going to find green.
And the next screen is green ones, which require fire 2, flame 2, whatever.
Yeah, I think they're all 2s at this point, and like Growlithe, like
but
conveniently...
we've encountered in Growlithe, so we can catch a Growlithe Gigarimo unit, which requires
that's
electricity,
which Elekid has.
Elekid
conveniently, one of these Pokemon is somewhat nearby, but you do have to clear the city section by section
because you need to like
these
remove the madness from these Pokemon. Like you come into the city and there's a Growlithe right there, but the Growlithe has madness, so it won't join your team. So you have to clear out all the red Gigarimo units in this area so you can capture a Growlithe and bring it into the next area and so on and so forth.
Right. And at one point, I think when you're about halfway through, I think there's 5, maybe 6 of them. And you see on an overhead bridge two shady-looking characters who are wearing uniforms. And
keep in mind, at this point, we've also, in mission 2 or 3, we caught a baddie in the forest who's potentially the guy who was responsible for setting the Vien forest fire.
Oh, yeah. Well, he's like a patsy.
Who's like a mute, and everyone decides to call him
We wrap him up.
Ollie because he smells like oil.
Right, because he was the guy who set the forest on fire accidentally.
But we don't know anything about him at this point.
We got him tied up back at the ranger base.
Yeah, it's kinky.
And Big Bertha's feeding him Miltank milk.
Yuck.
Forcefully.
What a disgusting picture you've painted.
So you see these 2 up on the overhead bridge, and they're like, "What's going on here? Like, who's shutting down these Gigarimos?"
They're like,
they're complaining about how hard they are to move, and you need 4 guys to move them.
How you keep vandalizing our machines?
Yeah.
We haven't learned anything about this nefarious team yet. We don't know their names.
We're about to though.
Okay.
Because now we do the part where I think then by the time we get to the penultimate one, they come down. And they come in and they bring in 2 more of their friends, and then they complain about how heavy these Gigarimos are. Then the 4 of them pick it up, which is also implying
Gigarimo's such a silly name.
The strength of Big Bertha is
Big
4 men.
Boss. Yeah.
Hell yeah.
She's a boss. And like she's so nonchalant about it. She's like, "Oh yeah, I think my limit is probably 2."
Yeah.
She's like, "They're pretty heavy. I could only probably carry 2."
Maybe just 1 in each hand.
What a boss woman.
Yeah. Good job, Little Tim.
I would love to see her make love to Little Tim.
That's what I'm talking about, man.
I just want to see what that dynamic's like.
They got that one for Affinity?
Miltank has to be there. It's the only way Big Bertha can finish.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Felt gross as I was saying.
Yeah, that's too far. So, back on the tracks. After you make it to the final one, which is an Elekid electrifying the blue one.
You keep saying Elekid. I used a Voltorb. I'm not touching an Elekid. Yuck.
I don't really love either of them. But the Elekid is right there, man. The Voltorbs are farther away.
Well, I just had a Voltorb with me.
Well, that's fine. Do they roll? I didn't capture one of them. Do they roll around?
No, they just bounce.
Oh, they bounce. I would hope they
bounce
roll.
after you.
But that's fine. You make it over to the east side of town, which is like the marina. And as you're looking for the last Gigarimo, you come up into kind of a shady alleyway. And there's a bunch of these uniformed dudes hanging out around the final Gigarimo.
Yep.
And they're basically, I mean, it's kind of a classic like Pokemon idiot villain where you like you just go up to them and you're like, hey, don't take that Gigarimo. And then they're like, well, we're taking this. This is ours, obviously.
It's ours, you vandal.
And you can't stop us. And then we just go like, hey, man, like, because I think we're there with Keith again.
Yeah.
And we're like, hey, man,
no, you're not. You're with Crawford. So Crawford kind of becomes your like partner.
This is where he's our mentor.
Every time you go back to the ranger station, the like boss of the ranger station is like, oh, did you see the newspaper? Keith is killing it. Keith is literally like unstoppable. Yeah. He's like a god.
I'll put some of these up on the...
What the fuck is Keith? Like, fuck Keith.
I don't like Keith either. I don't like him as far as I could throw a Gigarimo, and let me tell you, that ain't far.
Yeah.
I will say, though, I love the little newspapers. I'll put up a couple of
also very Harry Potter.
That's true. They do have the vibe. I mean, they don't all animate.
But it's got this game's got very Harry Potter. That's very interesting.
Vibes. Now that you're saying it, I'm really seeing it.
Yeah.
So we'll keep tracking that. So you go and you confront these villains and you just ask them like, no, who are you? And they are like, we're Team Dim Sun. Dim Sun.
They've got this game is so wild.
Yeah.
The bad guys are called Dim Sun.
Yeah.
Like the sun, like the sun in the sky is dim, but it's like, hey, you guys have heard of dim sum, like the food, right? You've heard of dim sum, right?
Delicious.
Because you guys know that your name sounds like dim sum, right?
I think so.
I don't think they do. I think they think it's like we're dimming the sun.
I mean, I imagine
it's so silly.
This is for babies,
the game is just so silly,
probably,
and I think
they have a scheme where they're going to dim the sun.
I think that's why I like this game. It's so silly. They're just like, we're not taking this one seriously. It's a side game.
It's
just
have
goofy.
Fun.
Gosh, this is so refreshing to play a fun Pokemon game.
Yeah, they have some fun with this. Like you have, I forget. I don't know if we get the name of the leader. I think it's maybe just the dim sum admin. Classic like Team Magma admin or whatever.
Right.
And he's like, hey, don't tell them who we are. Like, we don't have to tell them anything.
Yeah.
Sick them, Rattatas. And then they send out 4 Rattatas. And you have to try to...
They're so easy. You can circle all 4 of them at once.
That was what I was doing as well.
On your bottom screen.
They were not a problem.
No,
but
they were easy.
Then they send out the big guns, which is a Toxicroak.
Yeah.
And once again, there is a save point right around here. And we'll say there's save points and then there's occasionally like recharging stations. So I had saved right before this, but the Toxicroak killed me once.
Wow. Maybe I like this game so much just because I'm really good at it. Because the Toxicroak was zero problem for me.
You didn't die at all?
Not once did I.
I got defeated once and then I went...
I don't think my HP ever got below 15.
Jesus Christ. Well, you're a Pokemon Ranger
really
master.
Good at this game.
Because I had to go...
You know what you got to do? Get a mechanical pencil. Maybe that's
maybe I should start using my pen.
Yeah.
My pocket pen. See if that's my thing. I had to go back to the town square where they got a couple of Magnemites. Picked one of those up because they got a level 2 recharge. So then I went back and then it got me down to like half again and then I recharged and then I killed it.
Yeah.
But the Toxicroak is the biggest baddie we've fought so far because it's got like toxic where it will just make like a big pool of poison on the ground.
Oh, and the pool he's not the only one who does the pools. Like Blastoise do the pools and Gastrodon did them too, which are such a pain in the ass because it's just a place where you can't
it will like interrupt your circle
and do a ton of damage.
Yeah, I think it's 6 on the Toxicroak, which is like I think I had like 25 or something at the moment. So that's like, almost a quarter of health every time.
Yeah, the little pools are rough.
And it also does like whatever, toxic cloud, smog probably, where in the beginning it just shoots it in a straight line, so it's easy to avoid, but then after it gets to like, 25% health, then it does it around it. So then you have to just sit there and wait. But it is like kind of a Zelda style boss battle where like you can predict the patterns ultimately, and then you can just avoid it. So got through it. And then they run away though. They're allowed to
they screw
we
up.
don't have Big Bertha, so we can't stop them. They get away with the
for
Gigarimo.
men to have this Gigarimo away.
And they say that, like, we got what we needed out of this experiment, which we don't know what the end is yet.
Right.
And then you trudge all the way back.
Yeah, they make you go all the way back
to the base to close the mission. And then you get another rank.
Yeah. Do you want to talk about our ranks? Because I guess
honestly
a little confused
rank
about
check.
it.
Yeah.
You've included a passage in our notes here called level/rank check.
That's mostly because I think this is the equivalent of level check, and we're not gonna make a rank check segment theme.
There's two things here.
But you have two. Yeah.
There's level and there's rank. Yours, I will reveal, is you changed yours.
I went back and checked because I was wrong.
Okay, because you had originally said yours was 10-4, and I was like, how is he?
I just assumed that every mission you got a rank, and that's not true. And once I saw that you had 11-2, I was like, oh wait, I opened the game secretly while we were recording, and I checked, and I had 2. I'm not gonna be a mayor cheat.
Yeah, I don't know how you go up in rank.
It's like
clear to me that
we got 1 rank out of investigate the marine cave, I think, but. Then it's random.
Like I don't know.
We've done 4 missions and we have 2 rank.
I've done 1 more quest than you, and I have 1 more level. So levels must be attached to.
Well, quests. level is grinding also. Like I'm almost level 11. If I had like 10 more minutes, I probably would have gotten there.
I did do a lot of grinding.
But doing the quests, of course, like you captured that Pokemon in that other quest that I didn't do. And so that might have been it.
Right.
So I'm level 10, you're level 11. So it's level check.
Yeah, and we're both rank 2, which is meaningless at this point.
We don't know what the rank does. The level is important because it will increase your energy on the styler, and it increases the line, which is like the length and durability.
In addition to all these resistances we've picked up against like bug types and fire types and all that, I think both of us also managed to pick up long line. I got that long line.
Oh, I got that long line. Yeah, long line. I called that out in the notes as well. That thing slaps.
Yeah, it just makes so when you're doing your little circles with your stylus on the bottom screen, it's got like a tail effect, and you're like, you're doing a little lasso around the Pokemon. But your tail is only so long, so you pick up these bonuses which make your tail a little bit longer, which makes the circles a lot easier to draw, and therefore
size matters in Pokemon Ranger.
The Pokemon easier to catch. Yes, size does matter. Gross.
When it comes to stylers,
and when it comes to Berthas.
Yeah, that's true.
This game likes its Berthas big, and its Tim's tiny.
Little.
Yeah.
Tiny. Yeah. So I believe what we have next, you go to sleep, and then I think we'll probably have some side quests.
We've already heard of a Mantine.
Yes,
there's some issue with
we did skim over that, where we know that Crawford, our mentor, at one point was dispersed to go deal with a Mantine that I think had kind of beached on a cargo tanker.
Yeah,
and and that reminds me, because this will probably all end up being something. At one point, you can do one little, like, I don't even think it... one of the quests, actually, is back on Nabiki Beach, and you use Bidoof to go crush a crate, because this guy is like, these crates they washed up the shore, I think, from, like, that big cargo tanker I saw a little bit ago.
Right.
And he wants you to clean up the beach, and then you crush one, and there's a note inside that says Giga-type 08-U, and then parentheses pro-OTY-E. It's
sort of been washed out by the water.
Yeah, and then there's another line that's like BO-C-LOR REENE-GY. That's probably energy. Mm-hmm. And then F-E. Okay. We don't know what that is.
It's nonsense.
I'm just laying out the exposition.
No, I know. So we'll have to see. I think that's where we're headed next, is this cargo ship to help.
Yeah, I think we'll be taken to the sea.
What's his name? Carson? I can never remember his fucking name. Crawford. Help out there. But that's Pokemon Ranger. That's the first leg of our journey. We have 3 more of these, I think. It's a fun little game. I recommend if you've never played a Ranger game before, check it out. I think the mechanics will probably be a little like frustrating and infantile to some of you, but like it's sort of cool to play a Pokemon game that's like an entirely new mechanic. I know that you and I both really disliked Mystery Dungeon. So like these non-main Pokemon games can go either way. You're either going to get yourself a Coliseum, which we both loved, right, or you're going to get yourself a Mystery Dungeon, which we both hated. And Ranger seems to be more on the Coliseum side of that equation.
I'm feeling good about this. Yeah,
it's took a gamble. Like it's just sort of good. It's just sort of fun, you know. Like the mechanics are kind of cool. The story is pretty cool. The sprites are fantastic.
Yeah, I love the animation on this one.
Yeah. So if you're not playing along, to Josh's point, the cartridges are still pretty cheap on eBay, and I don't know. I recommend you just pick it up and play it with us because it's a good time.
Yeah, and if you are playing along, next week we will be going through Mission 8, quote unquote, your first big mission. So play that far.
That's it. This is Experience Share. It's a Pokemon podcast. We're playing through Pokemon Ranger 2,
Almia.
Shadows of Almia. My name was Tanstradon, and I am joined, as always, by my co-host, Fielstoys. Please do rate and review the show on Apple Podcasts. We have cracked into the top 200 of leisure podcasts.
We got to get back in there, and we got to get to number 1. There's 198 enemies.
So please do rate and review the show. Even during these little interstitial seasons, it's incredibly important. We're sorry that Black and White was kind of a bummer season, but we are feeling very good about Ranger, and we are very excited about Black and White too. So we hope that you will all kind of bear with us, and please do tell everyone about how much you love the show via reviews, ratings, sharing with your friends, and tweeting about the show on Twitter.
And you can tweet at us at EXPSharePod. You can follow us on Instagram. We got dynamite audiograms that Tanner has started making.
Yeah,
He's taken on the crown from me.
At this point, it's December 1st, and everyone is sharing their most listened podcast with us, which more often than not is Experience Share. So if you get your little Spotify rewind and it says that Experience Share is in your top 5 podcasts for the year, go ahead and tweet that or post it to your stories, and we'll send you a sticker.
Yeah, if you want a sticker, just give us a DM.
Yeah,
especially if you've already done it. We got plenty of stickers. I've even got some Black and White season ones.
Josh has the hotness. He's got the new ones.
And I'll tell you one other thing. I also have a limited edition run of some holographic versions of the first season art. So,
ooh, that's good.
Who knows what you get? Anytime Sticker Mule has a sale, we just kind of buy something.
Sticker Mule occasionally will send us emails. They're like, hey, $40 for 100 holograph stickers. We're like, yep.
Okay.
It's purchased.
Yeah, I'll take those.
So please keep sharing your Spotify rewinds where Experience Share is featured.
It's wrapped, Tanner.
Sorry. Because that's always fun to see.
Yeah. And then check out our subreddit, reddit.com/r/bugcatchers.
Yep.
And merch.
It's there. expsharemerch.com. We're working on it. I mean, we're not. But
we're going to keep the store because we don't have a better option of where to go, but we have been talking about some ideas.
Everyone has sent us away. We're like Mary and Joseph.
I know.
Wandering the back alleys of Jerusalem, just looking for a place for our merch.
Yeah.
No one's interested because
they don't want to get sued.
Nintendo's very litigious.
Yeah. So we're kind of stuck with what we got on there, but we have a couple of ideas for some that just won't use anything at all remotely related to Pokemon. Maybe we could pull those off. So
yeah. All right, cool. Bugcatchers, thank you for joining us. Josh, thank you for joining me. We will see you all next week for leg 2 of our journey through the Almia region in Pokemon Ranger, Shadows of Almia.
Smell you later.